Well, we already passed the January. In fact, we're already witnessing the F1 75th anniversary show where all 10 teams reveal their livery for 2025 seasons. In fact, we're already witnessing the bar and testing. Now, when it comes to making a guide or a prediction for 2025, I'm gonna be honest with you. This season is quite unpredictable given how the 2024 season goes, with some old team found it mojo and ranked up in the Constructor Champion. Well, of course, I'm talking about my beloved British team, and how close the competition not just in the mid-level teams but also a top-level team as well. And not to mention the changes that happen inside and outside track where some people leave F1, some people maybe switch to other motorsport, and also some young blood who join Formula 1. It's not easy to predict how this season gonna go, but let's see what we can learn from the test and of course what we can cope about it. Starting with man, they will defend the livery as much as they want to defend the Constructor Championship with an extra of wanting the Driver Champion now. Now, last year, they got what they wanted, which a Constructor Champion, even though the car can do much more than that. Now, for the livery though, I'm starting to see the pattern here. After 2019, McLaren launched a simple blue and papaya livery. And the next year, they came up with the same livery, dubbed as the MCL35M. Sure, there's some minor changes out of it with the livery, but still, the formula remains the same. 2022, they ditched the blue in favor of baby blue. 2023, you guessed it, it's the same livery. The only thing set apart is the amount of exposed carbon fiber, and this year is the same. Almost nothing changed. Well, to be honest, I'm expecting a new livery when they're running the camo livery on the Silverstone. Anyways though, the main question is, do they gonna keep the momentum, or maybe, just maybe, they can go even stronger than before? Built from the ground up. Now, last year I used that sentence to describe Mercedes. Now, this team is being serious to be a championship contender. Now, they really built their car from the ground up. Well, 90% of them, maybe much more, like a Mercedes. Now, with the 7 title holder and Ferrari experienced Monegasque boy under the belt, they're ready for cracking up the top 3. But what if that wasn't true? What if all those hype, just a hype? Now, I'm gonna give some credit to Ferrari. I mean, they improved their car a lot. But remember, Ferrari is not the only team that compete and also improve a lot in Formula 1. Yet they decided to go for a risky design at the end of this regulation, which at some aspect they need to learn from zero. Now, livery though, it's red, bit darker, and a bit of a white for a HP logo. That's it. Now, remember when I said that this team is unstoppable despite of what happened in the early season? Well, that didn't last for long. Even on the test itself, the 2025 car looks exactly the same as last year. Well, actually, there's some certain thing that is changes, and some certain thing is different. But they decided to do some changes, not on the start of the testing, but in the middle of the testing. Now, this definitely sparked some questions, especially for me. I mean, do they gonna serious about the 2025 season, or is it their part of the strategy of the RB21, or simply they just, forgot to change the car? Now, from the driver's aspect, I don't see good things. I mean, it's not looking good either. I mean, the Kiwi is trying to adapt a car that is well designed specifically for Max Verstappen. However, Max Verstappen itself is trying to understand the RB20. Yeah, they're not in the ideal position right now. What? Are you expecting a change for the livery? You out of your mind or something? Another season, another concept design. I mean, just look at the 2022, 2023, and 2024. The car completely different. Now, it's their first year without the 7-time world champion, and all their lineup were a young talent. Well, but somehow I seem the car was promising, well, based on their testing. Now obviously there's a lot to adapt and to learn from the young Italians, since it's their first race for a big team. However, for the Brits, well, it's time to be the race leader, well, the drivers who leading the team. Now for the livery, it's the same, but it's much more silver than before, and still pretty cool actually. Okay, so the car is promising, at least based on the test. Now they got a least talented drivers, two of them. Okay, so what they were lacking of, consistent, that they were lacking of. Now you can see that the 2022 in the Grand Effect era, they it's their era to do like a trial and error, so not really surprised they're inconsistent throughout the season, not only 2022 but also 2023 and also 2024 as well. Now let's see how it goes in the 2025. For this one, maybe you need to lower expectation a bit and wait for the next year, because next year we can definitely put our expectation as high as we could. Now even though they managed to sign what appears to be the greatest airbender in Formula 1, this season it's felt like a McLaren 2023 vibe, where the car was there's a lot of problem and so on like that, but they didn't want to admit it that they're having trouble at the start of the season. And not to mention that the Honda itself is struggling to making a 2026 power unit. Alright, back to this guy. Now obviously that he's gonna focus on the new regulation, but they were expected that Adrian Newey also gonna help the AMR25 development. Also, the livery is slightly different. The only thing set apart is the exposed carbon fiber on the side. Sure. Now, we didn't expect much from this team, but we expected to be better than 2024. Last year, they didn't start pretty good. They're most likely in the back with the overweight car. They spend their time fighting with themselves, while at the same time trying to fixing themselves. Also firing people in the process before they had enough and decided to start against other teams. Now, what I mean fight is, compete, of course. And slowly became competitive midfielder till they struck gold with the Brazil double podiums, overtaking Haas in the standings. Now this year they have to take what they were left of and keep improving. Of course, they can count on the Saulo miracle, because lightning wasn't gonna strike twice, and it's gonna be a new challenge and also at the same time threat for the young Aussie, because the Argentina is right behind him as a reserve driver. Anyway though, the only thing that we can say they clearly improve is they finally paint the car. The 2024 season was unexpected year, and so does for this team in my opinion, because after the star is leaving the team, they obviously need to have a new team principal, and they did. But one thing that we don't expect is how they will operate throughout the 2024 seasons. I mean, they make sure to squeeze every single aspect just to get some point. Now this year I expect the same thing, although in the subtle way with some fewer budget, because of course the main owner is just too crabby to spend the money. Well, actually they got signed with Toyota Gazoo Racing as their technical partner, one of the surprise comeback in 2024. Now, one thing that I'm concerned about this team is the relation between teammates, because we've got one driver who hasn't got a good track record with their teammates, and let's see how it goes with the rookie. Livery? Oh yeah, it's more white, which good I guess. Honestly though, the only thing they improve is the livery, because god damn, that livery is looking fire for the cars, isn't it? I don't know, somehow this team has became more Haas than the Haas itself. They're always counting on the main team, even though Red Bull itself were not in the ideal position, but at least we can see that beautiful livery at the back. Well, I have some expectation on this one, even though their main focus was 2026 regulation, much like anyone else. But they're not gonna make this year slip that away. They're not gonna make the same mistake back in 2024. And also, they're not gonna let down the Spaniard, because if the Spaniard were disappointed, we also gonna get disappointed as well. Even the worst case scenario doesn't according to plan, like there's a lot of things they have to unpack, like they have to working out. But at least they have ambition for this year. The same thing didn't apply for the next team, which is gonna be the last thing we're gonna talk about. Oh, the livery, yeah, it's subtle. I prefer the camel livery they're running on the shakedown, to be honest with you. Next year is definitely our year, because this year, once again, it's a transition year. Now, at least Williams, we can expect something out of it, even though both teams have the same goal, which focus on the new regulation of 2026. Now, the time that Sauber will become Audi in 2026, this team just sort of like a, being a relaxed throughout the entire season, because they know they will get backing up by the automotive giant. I mean, that mentality is like, because we got backing up by a big money, we just sort of like a relax, like have no problem or like no pressure in the F1 team. Doesn't look so professional. I mean, I'll be surprised if they're least competitive, Now, the last thing is the livery wise. It's quite unique livery, to be honest with you. I like the color transition from the electric green to a black, and also does affect the wheels as well, which is pretty neat, pretty cool, I guess. Well, I think that's the only thing about the only thing that's good about this team, to be honest. So yeah, nothing more. They finally in. Hell yeah! Well, that's it. That's the guide for the 2025 season. Now, obviously, there's a lot of things that are gonna change that might be gonna different from what I said when we reach the Melbourne, because the round 1 is around the corner, and yeah, we're just gonna wait and see how the result. So thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. If you like what you saw, please smash the like, subscribe button, and see you next time, and drive safe. Goodbye.